You are Locked On Cubs, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Alongside Sam Olber, I'm Matt Cozy. Sam and I are lifelong fans, taking our passion into a discussion with you on all things Cubs. Today's episode is presented by our great partners at FanDuel. Right now, new customers can get $200 in bonus bets when your first $5 bet wins. Packed show here on a Monday, as they usually are. Sammy Sosa was back at Wrigley Field. We will preview Cubs Cardinals. Shota Imanaga returning this week. Porter Hodge might not. And we start with recapping Cubs Mariners, as the Cubs lost 2 out of 3 in what passed for what I'm calling a sloppy home run derby. And most of the home runs, 10, were by the Mariners, and most of the slop was from the Cubs. 9-4 loss Friday, 10-6 win Saturday, and 14-6 loss Sunday. Sam, the Cubs could be facing their first real patch of adversity this season.
Yeah, I like the way that you describe that sloppy home run derby. And for me, Matt, this was one of those series where the old Sam was kind of reared its ugly head, if you don't mind me saying about myself. You do a really good job before each series kind of previewing most winnable, least winnable. And it felt like Friday afternoon they lost the series.
Okay.
That's how it felt. So I'm not as disappointed overall, like from Sunday. That was expected. Colin Ray, wind howling out against the Mariners team, despite the wind that felt like it was just swinging the bats really well. For me, it's just looking around the division. And, as we're recording here, the Brewers are in a tight one late. If they hold on, it'll be 20 of 27 wins for them in their last 27. As bad as it feels like the Cubs are playing, their record is in the last 27, Matt? Want to take a guess?
I'm going to guess.
Yeah.
I'm going to go 27, 17, and 10.
16-11. And usually you go 16-11, you're not going to drop 4 games in the standings, because what seems to be happening right now is that the Cubs on both sides of the baseball are leveling off a little bit, right? And they probably were doing that a little bit sooner, but they had that 21-game stretch that they took advantage of where they were able to really stack some wins. When you're 46-31, when you're 15 over, especially in a division like this, you should be up more than 3.5 games, and that's really the number. It's not your record. It's how many games up are you? And so because of the success of the team that we're about to play, and more so the success of the team up north that looks like the same team as last year, that's where kind of my concern lies a little bit. And I know it's probably too early to do that, but that's just how I am. And that's what I'm going to do. As far as the weekend goes, my big takeaway just generally from the weekend and adversity is we learned what we already knew. And that is that this Cubs pitching staff does not have enough whiffs, enough swing and miss, enough strikeouts. You've got to be able to miss bats on weekends like this. Now, it's a perfect pitching staff to pitch when the wind's howling in. We've learned that too. But this weekend, maybe it was a be careful what you wish for. Maybe this team's just better suited playing in pitcher conditions. But that's where I'm at. Where are you at? Because when you say adversity, that's exactly what I'm talking about. Just, hey, you got this Brewers team is about to play the Rockies and Pirates, then Rockies. If you have a great week this week, which I think we could agree would be 4-3, they probably go 5-1. You're going to look up a week from now and you're going to be a game up. That's what I mean by adversity.
Yeah, I still don't see it developing more from the normal ebb and flow of the season right now. I don't have exact worries other than starting pitching, which is a big one, by the way.
Yeah.
But the offense leveled off this week or got better this week. I would say defensively within the context of the 3 games, very poor. Is it a concern moving forward? No. But talk about a porous effort in all 3 contests. It was crystal clear this weekend. So I would say I'm doing it a little bit better with it than you are. I get putting it in the scope of the division, but I could come right back and say, well, they're in striking distance of being the best record in baseball.
Sure.
and they've been in the same convo the last month with the Dodgers, Mets, and Phillies. We've looked to for years, or at least most of this season, most of the last couple of years, especially Dodgers and Phillies. I think it's still a team that could win in a variety of ways. I don't have a great answer for why the lead is slimmer than you would like, despite their overall record. Besides that, there was close games that they couldn't seal the deal on early, and perhaps that is adding up now. But beyond some of the patches of the last few weeks, I don't have any big worries right now. I do respect the Brewers. I am really curious how this rival series with the Cardinals is going to go, because they didn't fade. They've won 5 out of their last 6, albeit some of that against the White Sox. But I could get to the adversity patch. I just don't see it as much as the normal ebb and flow of the year. Just because it's not exactly a trend yet. I would prefer if they had a bigger lead. But I guess we'll see this week. If they drop 3 out of 4 to St. Louis, boom, that's a trend.
Yeah.
And I think them being on the right side of the scoreboard has calmed us. But maybe that doesn't continue.
Well, I don't think we're really saying different things. I would even go as far as to say that I think their lead's smaller than we'd like. Nothing to do with them. It's because the other teams are better than everybody thought. And that's just I'm just annoyed by that. I'm annoyed that the Brewers look like the exact same team to me as they did last year after a bump. Now, your point seems to be,
and they have good starting pitching.
Right. And your point seems to be the right one, which, hey, maybe it's just the flow of the season. They're really hot right now. But, you said it in a different way, but it's my concern. We are one of the best teams in baseball, and if, in terms of their record. And if you told me before July 4th, hey, you're going to be one of the best teams in baseball, but your division lead a week from now might be a game or two, that it's just irritating. That's all it is. Because I'm not that's really the point. I'm not actually overly concerned with the Cubs themselves. I'm just more concerned about, I don't know, what was it, a week or two, maybe 2 weeks ago, it was like, hey, should we be talking? I mean, I was listening on the radio. Should we be thinking about World Series? Should we be thinking about this? You gotta walk before you can run. And I would be shocked pleasantly if this division felt really, really comfortable, by mid-August or it's gonna have to go at least till September. There's some really good teams in here that are just better than people thought. I'll never understand the prognostications of the Brewers. They're wrong every year. And so
especially last year.
Yeah. And so that's really where I'm at. But yeah, look, the Cubs, this isn't a Brewer show. The Cubs have holes. I think they're going to be okay. But, okay might mean we're sweating September 20th. That's the only point I'm making.
There's just more there's an increased stress level.
Yeah, that's it. That's all I'm saying.
Whereas maybe the Dodgers won't have that. It seems like the Phillies and Mets might battle it out for a while, though.
Yeah, and my tone on the show is totally different if the Brewers and Cardinals come out losing 2 out of 3 this weekend, 5.5 instead of 3.5 or whatever it is.
Right.
But they keep winning, sweeping Minnesota on the road. I mean, I think, do we go to Minnesota this year? I think we do.
Yes,
I mean, that would
before the break.
That would be a really awesome result. We'd be celebrating on this show.
I think it's the second to last series of the first half.
It's not a small deal. So I just think you combine everything. You lose 2 of 3. You have a mediocre 5-4 homestand. I think that's the right word to describe it, especially after you started 3-1. You need a lot of pitching, and you're just trying to get there. And while you're trying to hold serve, and I think still doing a pretty good job of doing so, the other teams, especially Milwaukee, because as you said, we're going to get to see St. Louis for the first time. They just keep racking up wins. So for me, it's just, you said, it's just an increased stress level.
And we're going to preview Cubs Cardinals later in the show. Please stick around for that. Coming up next, let's break down the starting rotation. It was Boyd, Horton, and Ray over the weekend, and Shota Imanaga is going to return this week, a much-needed addition to that rotation, which has regressed and at times regressed mightily the last few weeks. And we'll do that next.
This episode is brought to you by Wonderful Pistachios. Looking for a snack that's both delicious and nutritious? Crack into a good source of protein with Wonderful Pistachios. Wonderful Pistachios is one of the highest protein nuts. Each 1 ounce serving has 6 grams of protein, giving you over 10% of your daily value. Plus, they're packed with fiber and better for you unsaturated fats to help keep you feeling fuller longer. Personally, I love the no shells variety. It's the perfect grab-and-go snack for busy days, whether I'm snacking at my desk, on a road trip, or just need a quick protein boost. They're always my go-to. Folks, you've seen me eat these plenty on watch-alongs. They're my go-to snack. They're my favorite snack. Chili roasted is my favorite flavor. I have to have a quick handful right now. They're excellent. They're packed with flavor. I could not recommend them more. So get snacking and get cracking with a snack that packs a protein punch. Visit wonderfulpistachios.com to learn more.
Shota Imanaga made a rehab start Friday for AAA Iowa, and his next start will be this week against the Cardinals. His last start was in early May at the major league level. So this really was almost a 7-week injury, almost 8. Colin Ray, Ben Brown, and Cade Horton are the candidates to not stay in the rotation. Craig Counsell did indicate on Saturday the Cubs could move to a 6-man rotation, but I don't really remember them doing that. I know they've flirted with it in the past, but it's never actually come to fruition. Matthew Boyd on Friday was good, but his shoulder isn't, because he made a heck of a catch that caused the throwing shoulder to get dinged up a little bit. There were positive reports on Sunday about that, but there is a possibility he gets skipped this week. More on that later. Colin Ray or Cade Horton on Saturday was not pitch efficient again, but did showcase a few reasons why he should remain in the rotation. And Colin Ray really struggled again. Here are his run totals the last 6 starts, including Sunday: 6-6-0, 4-2, and 6. It's like a lottery drawing. So Imanaga is going to come back Wednesday or Thursday. First of all, how nice is that after a long absence? And second, who stays, who goes, and could they do the 6-man?
Wow. A lot of questions. I'm trying to think how I want to answer them. Well, first of all, it's great to have Imanaga back, and I'm really happy he's pitching against the Cardinals, it sounds like.
Yes.
Don't you remember the irony? Last year was the first time I really started to get irritated with this team. Was Memorial Day weekend. Imanaga was slated to pitch against the Cardinals. They rained out the game and then pushed him back. And I'm like, what? Mm-hmm. So now I'm glad that he's got a chance to pitch at Busch Stadium. And it's going to be a really important series that we're going to talk about. I don't know. Your Ben Brown to AAA thing last week, to me, felt very contingent on Porter Hodge coming back up. And that's going to be a question that I think you're going to talk about. If it's just straight Imanaga, it feels like Pearson goes. Ray gets moved to the pen, probably. I feel like it feels like Flexen and Ray are a little redundant. Do you need 2 long relievers that don't get a lot of whiffs? I doubt they would put Brown in the bullpen just off a whim like that. They'd want him to probably, learn that routine. But maybe it's like maybe they do something like, it's not a 6-man rotation per se, but when Brown pitches, one of those dudes throws the first 2 innings or an inning, or is ready to back him up if it goes short, something like that, to where they keep him. Because if you do keep 2 long guys, you got to really use them and make sure that they're helping the team and shorten outings. And so I think something like that probably happens, where your rotation would be just in order of ability: Imanaga, Boyd, Tyone, Horton, Brown, and then Brown kind of has the kid gloves on with one of those long guys get ready to tail him or open for him, something like that. As far as Cade goes, I I think he's done a good enough job to warrant continuing to start if he's healthy. The only question with him, and it's also a question with Boyd, is just when do you start getting worried about these guys' innings that haven't thrown a lot of innings? Even on Saturday, that day was such a difficult day to pitch. I mean, PCA misjudges 2, Happ misjudges 1. He still was able to give the Cubs a decent chance to win. And he had the Brujan error behind him as well. So I've been really impressed with him, his ability to compete, and I think he's been an asset so far. So that's probably where I would go. Just kind of Ray goes as kind of a piggyback off of Ben Brown, and Pearson, he would go.
Yeah, there's multiple avenues the Cubs could go in the rotation. I think Brown does stay in the rotation for now, but Pomerantz is an opener for him. And then even when Horton pitches, Ray and Flexen could be first out of the pen if mileage is that much of a concern. But this early in the season, I think they want Brown to be a starter if possible, whether that's in Des Moines or here. But I think Imanaga returning is a major storyline. The Cubs are without their 2 best starters. It's not even close. I understand Matthew Boyd's been really good. I know Jamison Tyone's been good at times, but for the way the Cubs run without their 2 best guys and Steele and Imanaga, and now Shota's coming back, it's definitely a welcome sign. I think Nate Pearson, his days are numbered, maybe even sooner than later. Certainly, can you hear me still?
Yeah, it's a little staticky.
Okay. Maybe when Imanaga is activated, then Pearson can be demoted if he's not sooner, since he did not impress Sunday. But there's definitely going to be a shuffle this week.
Yeah, I think for me, it's a shuffle. I think the real problem with the pitching right now, and I'll use an example from Sunday, and we've talked about this a lot. Craig is so pragmatic with his bullpen usage, and you say something like, well, Pomerantz is going to open for Brown, that'd be great. I don't think they want to give away Pomerantz early right now because the bullpen is so beat up. They've had so many days in a row without playing outside of that cancellation. It's going to be 95 plus degrees all week again in St. Louis. They don't feel very confident in a lot of their pitchers going deep in games. Like, and the point is, I think Craig needs to be a little bit more risky with it. Like, for example, on Sunday, he did not need to. If the plan was to bring in Flexen for the top of the order there in the 6th inning, you don't need. He could face 2 extra hitters with the bottom of the order. You know what I mean? It was just it's a little too much with that. Yeah. And I know Cap was really fired up about Genesis Cabrera pitching on Friday, which is something that you mentioned. That one I'm a little bit less frustrated with because who else is going to pitch? You can't bring in Keller down 2. You can't bring in Palencia down 2. There weren't a lot of guys left, and then he went all in on Saturday to win. I think the solution here in Council's defense is you need a better overall starting situation. You're fighting through these outings, and you need a little bit more stability. And I think it's a very fair thing to ask, Matt. Was a lot of their success early in the year due to conditions? I think that's fair. Yeah. A lot of these guys. I mean, look, Ray and Tyone especially.
Yeah, well, and especially Ray, just because of how much hard contact he gave up Sunday.
Oh,
it'd be one thing if the wind was blowing out, but everything was, 99 plus off the bat. Seemed like.
Right.
Porter Hodge was not good on Friday. He pitched as well in Des Moines, and actually in Nashville for AAA Iowa. 7 runs on 4 hits, no strikeouts, 2 walks.
1/3 of an inning.
He recorded 1 out. He is supposedly going to pitch Tuesday, and then the Cubs are going to evaluate where he stands because he doesn't have to come back. He has minor league options, so they can just keep him in AAA. And with the way the high leverage guys, for the most part, are performing, I think maybe that happens.
100%. 100%.
Which is too bad for him.
I've told you this, man.
But he hasn't been good.
These guys go like this, these relievers. You miss time, and it goes both ways. You could really struggle. You get injured for a while. You come back, you're a brand new guy. And now all of a sudden this happened, and bullpen pitchers are too trendy. You have to make sure he's okay before you come back up and do this, because you said it. Keller, Palencia, Thielbar, Pomerantz, and I'll throw in a mid-leverage guy. Even Brazier has been good enough. Okay, where it's not quality right now with those relievers. It's just getting them, not overusing them because of the lack of innings you're getting from your starting rotation. So I saw that line. It was funny. The headline was Imanaga, who started the same day.
Right.
And then you look down and you go, man, how did they give up so many runs? If he pitched, it was our closer.
Yeah.
Our old closer.
And Nate Pearson was just awful. I was trying to say that before my Wi-Fi or StreamYard was being attacked by the Monstars from Space Jam. And you have several other guys who could be demoted and promoted freely. So they might even just get rid of Pearson before
I think
Imanaga returns.
I think he's gone tomorrow because you think about it. You got Brown pitching in St. Louis, supposed to be 95 at first pitch. A lot of your bullpen guys are tired. You need Flexen not available, threw a ton today.
Right.
You need another safe arm if you're down 9-2 in the fourth.
Yeah, so those names who could be go up and down freely this year: Cosgrove, Hollowell, Little, Neely, and Roberts. So we'll probably see one of those guys.
I think you'll see one of them. Yeah, because you can't go into that game tomorrow pitcher short.
That's right. And Pearson could also be optioned again, but as Sam said in a text message to me, maybe something he could be DFA'd or something like that. But
I did say
Cubs actually have an open spot on the 40-man right now, so we'll see. But yeah, I think the Pearson AAA stats might have been Mirage 2.0 for him. All right, coming up next, we got Cubs Cardinals and some Sammy Sosa talk.
This episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Summer sports are in full swing, and whether you're all about baseball under the lights, golf on the green, or high-stakes soccer action, FanDuel is the best way to make every game even more exciting. You're already following the action. Why not make it a little more thrilling? With FanDuel, you can get in on the game while your friends are getting sunburned at the beach. Folks, we already cashed in Pete's over home run total this year, and we cashed in another on Sunday on FanDuel. The over-under heading into the year for Seiya Suzuki's home run total was 19.5. He hit home runs number 19 and 20 off a fantastic right-hander, Logan Gilbert. Pete should be able to get his stolen base number pretty soon as well. That was 29.5, although he did get thrown out stealing on Sunday. So if you're new to FanDuel, new customers can bet just $5 and get $150 in bonus bets if your first bet wins. Open the FanDuel app today or visit FanDuel.com/lockedon to get started.
Cubs Cardinals this week, 4-game series. First time these two teams have met this season, which is an embarrassment. Brown and Liberator, Tyone and Fetty, and then we got TBDs for Wednesday and Thursday. Matthew Boyd is hopefully going to pitch this week, but if he can't, that's a big problem.
Yeah,
because Imanaga is going to pitch Wednesday or Thursday, and then the other game would be a bullpen game.
I would suspect it will be Brown, Tyone, Boyd, and Shota.
I hope so.
Because it would be surprising to see Shota throw Wednesday on normal rest after the injury. You'd think they want to give him one extra day.
Absolutely. So I even thought before they announced it Saturday, he might pitch Friday in Houston.
Yeah, I just don't. That Crawford box is with him,
Oh, yeah, right. Good point. I don't like that stadium.
I would say, and then for the Cardinals, the TBD, you're going to see Sonny Gray. You're going to see him. Unless he's hurt or something, he's going to pitch.
Yeah, Sonny Gray, on Thursday?
Yeah, it's for them, just off their rotation, it's Palante and Gray or Gray Palante, one of those two.
Right,
now,
right.
Maybe they haven't announced it. Maybe they don't want to throw Palante. Look, I said it earlier, a 4-3 week would be fine, but with the way the other team up north is playing, you'd like to do better, and this is a really good opportunity. You're about to see the Cardinals here 7 times in a short span, and they've been right on you most of the year. And now you get a chance to build some ground. Obviously, it's going to be a tough series. None of the Cardinals pitchers really make you lose sleep at night outside of maybe Gray. I was really surprised to see on FanDuel that the Cubs are slight underdogs Monday. I know Brown hasn't thrown the ball well, and they've struggled versus lefty starters, which may be why. But Liberatore, outside of his last start, really hit a wall there for a while. But I don't like that. I don't like when the Cubs are, it's the exact same line it was Sunday, which I don't like. But it's a really important series. You hear me say it every time we have a 4-gamer. Got to get game one. Get game one. You set yourself up to take 3 out of 4. You don't. You're trying to leave St. Louis with a split, and that's not the worst result in the world, Matt. But I think we all could use a little feel-good 3 out of 4 series win.
And the Cubs are 23-7, Sam, in games this year following a loss.
Yeah, it's a great stat.
So hopefully they could keep that up. Cardinals had hit a wall themselves as a team recently, but then kicked back up this week.
Sox.
They sit at 42-36. And these series, since we've done this show, have been very tension-filled.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder if we'll see anything like that this week. But I am looking forward to it. I just hope they can pocket that win on Monday, similar to last week when they pocketed the first win of the week. That would have been Tuesday against the Brew Crew. So
yeah,
hopefully they can do that.
It's a big game.
I don't think Sammy Sosa's making the trip, although he could. It's not too far away from Wrigley. Sammy was at Wrigley on Friday, and it leaked Friday morning, and then the Cubs announced it at like 10 a.m. Just odd behavior by all parties once again. And Sosa is not, excluded from that. But I think this return really could one day be the subject of a great documentary if someone wanted to pursue it. Just a really complicated relationship with the team. Even just that moment Friday where they put him on the video board, I was on the edge of my seat. I thought it was a really cool moment. But the fact that it took 21 years, I guess Friday brought closure, but it was just quite a journey with him.
Yeah, I thought I'm on the same wavelength as you are, and I don't even think it brought closure. It was odd. I mean, he got a nice ovation, but it wasn't.
But he was in the box. He was in the luxury suite.
Yeah, it was in the box. It just felt a little forced, and it felt like, and I sensed this a little bit at CubsCon. You and I were sitting next to each other when he got introduced, and pessimistic myself. I said, I'm surprised that ovation wasn't louder, and I really do think some people just really debated and were thinking about it. It just because how did there not break out a Sammy?
Right,
how did that not break out? The whole thing just feels. I echo everything you said. It feels odd. This is something that you would think would be advertised in advance for people to come to the game and really get into it. They just picked a random Friday 120 against Seattle. I mean, not that the opponent really matters, but you think it would be like a whole, this is the day Sammy Sosa's returning. He's going to throw out the first pitch. He's going to do this, do that. It just felt odd. And I'm not even blaming the Ricketts for that. It like you said, I think it goes both.
Right.
It goes both ways. I mean, even his interview, I didn't listen to the one with Pat and Ron, but I listened to him in the booth with Boog and JD. And it was just a bit odd. The whole thing
was strange, yeah.
And I'm glad to say this because I think we spent a lot of time on Sosa in terms of the, compared to everybody else. I'm done with it now. I am
okay.
And the reason why is because the team. Like when Sosa was in the booth there, I'm locked in. I'm trying to win a division title.
Right.
So like with me, that stuff's fun to talk about when the Cubs are 10 under and they're trying to gut their way to 78, 79 wins and you live in the past. I'm trying to live in the moment with this team and trying to way to win a division. And so when he was on, it's like, because everyone was texting me about it. Like, it's Sammy Sosa. The guy's, whether you like him or not, he's a superstar, right?
Yes.
A
symbol of my childhood.
A true blue superstar for so many people right around our age, especially more yours than mine. Not that we're that far apart.
Thank you.
But you know what I mean? My cousin was texting me, how's the Sosa thing? And I'm like, we just lost a game to Seattle that we shouldn't have lost. So that's really where I was with it.
Well, no, we've even done shows like lead topics where it's like, is Sosa ever going to return? It's like, that's done now.
And it was appropriate. It's done. He's back. It was lukewarm. I think that's the way to go. It was a lukewarm welcome, and it was fine.
Well, and if you're having soup this weekend, if you want it hot or lukewarm, or
if you're having soup this weekend, let's have a little conversation. Assuming you're in Chicago.
We'll be back after Cubs Cardinals on Monday. Hopefully the Cubs can lead off that series with a win. This is Locked On Cubs, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day. For your second listen, check out the all-new Locked On MLB Game Night. Every game, every night, all season long. Get local analysis on a national scale. Find MLB Game Night on the Locked On MLB channel on YouTube or wherever you listen to podcasts. He's Sam Olber. I'm Matt Cozy. This is Locked On Cubs.